All right, gang, a little progress update here. Steph made some awesome progress figuring out kind of the process for doing this. You see we've got a bunch of those ones done up there. We're using the angle grinder to really focus on the edges around to try and marry up those bumpy edges like this. That's a big bump there. Like there. It does gouge a little bit of the plaster as you do that. However, our plan that has worked pretty well is we come afterwards with the palm sander and the 80 grit things on there. Got a whole whack of those, and that smooths out the stuff around pretty nicely. So that feels really, really good here. Like this one is the one that Steph was referring to as a beautiful thing, and I fully agree. Working on the walls a bit, a little trickier. Definitely want to have all of your respirator stuff on when using the wall. On the ground, the Shroud does a great job of capturing all of the dust, and it feels like there's like none coming out. On the walls, it's way harder to keep it flat, and you're actually, I find that I'm on a bit more of an angle trying to really chip off those edges. Another trick too, I was noticing that it was cutting out a little bit. I'm pushing down too hard on it is what's causing that. So like Steph said, wise woman, let the diamonds do the work. And yeah, we're gonna tackle some of these guys next here and just keep working our way down. Big day for sanding. All right, gang, I really feel like I'm starting to get this technique down a little bit. So when you're on the floor and trying to get those edges out, again, those rougher edges, kind of like something like that. Big friggin' bump, I haven't gotten over there yet. But trying to gouge, like angle a little bit down into that, at the start. And then what that's going to do is as you go by it, of course, creates a gouge, kind of like you see over here, right? And then we were just talking about taking those out with the 80. But I also noticed that if I kind of like, once I get that level, then I come by with it tilted more this way and like smooth that part out. I find I can get this edge that I need to get and then fix those gouges at the same time. Over here, I'd had a bunch from coming that other direction from just doing that hole. But this is all nice and smooth. And even if you see a little bit of a line there, you can't feel that. You really can't feel it. So it's like, it's very fine. I think the paint's going to smooth that out really nice. But this edge here is like totally done. That's good to go. A few little bumps here. I'm still going to give a quick once over the whole patch, but the technique's coming. Okay, still making lots of progress here on sanding. We're probably, probably past the third of the way done. But something else I wanted to point out is just to take the scraper, and go along here to get some of this crap off here. There's no point in having the diamond blade having to do that. Going across everything. Some of these big pieces like this. Down. Clean that up. You get a lot of stuff off just with that, and it's easier to see where you need to spend more time actually sanding. I can't remember if I did a video about this already or not, but also for the floor, I've been using this guy a little bit. It's all right, video cut out there for a second, but I was just about to say this is our good old Canadian ice driveway ice scraper, and I like to take this around and just get some of these pieces off. Like here's some stuff that was too watery at the top. I took out a few awesome chunks. Like here's a good example right there. See that one right there? Boom, gone. You're gonna save yourself a lot of times. You're gonna smooth out some of these edges here before you get going with the sander. Another one right there. See? Smooth that right down. Saves you time and your back. Hey everybody, we are almost done sanding. We are almost ready to move on to the paint phase. But I did want to point out one other interesting thing. You'll remember that when we were pouring some of these tough patches along the wall, I had some green painter's tape along here, and I would pull that off while it was still wet. And, in some cases like here, it wasn't actually up that high, so it didn't matter. But in other cases, it kind of left this really rough edge. It's very sharp. I cannot leave that like that. The kids will be, you know, up against that, and that'll hurt. So what we did think of, actually, my lovely wife came up with this idea. She said, what about the Dremel? And go along and try to just level some of this stuff out. So it actually works pretty good. Like you can see, it's been done here already, and that is super smooth now. So what we've been doing is going with the Dremel, and then also with the palm sander, which is over there. I'll double check the grit that she's been using. She should really be doing this part of the video because she's the one who's been kind of running this whole thing. But works pretty good. A little tricky with one hand. I'm going to go real carefully here. So you can see that it cleans that up pretty nice. That's a particularly bad spot where we've got a little bit of a depression here too that we'll work on a little bit more after. But for the purpose of this, again, just wanted to show you. And if I had two hands on this, I could have a little bit more pressure on it. But this attachment works pretty darn well on the Dremel. Now you don't want to touch the tile, as you can see, because I just touched it there a little bit, and you'll see bringing it up a little bit. Again, we're not building a piano here, so we're not too worried about it. But this works pretty well. You got to have some patience. Ideally, you know, your cracks and patches aren't right up against the tile. But if they are, this is a way to clean it up. And you can have it looking like that. All right, more. All right, gang, another little update here. A lot of good progress today. Still some day ahead of us, but probably going to wrap it up here pretty soon. You know, we're done pretty much all of these. Now, when I say done, I mean they're still going to get hit a little bit more to clean up the plaster. I do find the plaster is a fair bit softer than the concrete that we've poured. So, you know, it is easy to gouge that up a bit, but I do think it's also going to clean up nicer with the 80 grit. We're ordered actually in a little bit of 60 and 40 sandpaper to try those out and just see what works the best. You can kind of see there are some lines and stuff. We're going to try to clean up some of that. But again, keeping in mind that we're not building a piano here. So we're going to get it good, and we're going to also count on the paint a little bit to, you know, solve a few more problems. Most of the big, we've referred to this one here as the mother of all patches. We're about halfway done that guy. We still have that one to do. And we still have some walls to do. The big one along the wall, kind of over to there, needs to be done, but that one's done. That one down by the stairs is done. There's a few other down below me here that are done. So anyway, making progress. We also changed the blade on the tool, and one thing that was a little tricky that I wasn't really expecting was that it was a slightly different size, not diameter wise, but oh, where did it go? What was it here? But there's the old one. But the height of this. So when I look here, like this distance from this to between my fingers there, the new black one's a little bit, this part that goes up is a little bit taller, which meant that the shroud is not touching the ground as much. And you can adjust the shroud down so that it's kind of down below, but it doesn't go quite all the way. So that extra one that I bought, which is this guy here, that, you know, Amazon suggested, oh, these things are bought together. I don't think it really matches that well. And so I may end up going back to this or trying to order one that's a little bit closer to this size. And the other thing I would say is that it takes a little bit of getting used to. Every time, like putting that new blade on, like, you know, it takes a few minutes to kind of get your technique down again with the blade in particular. But anyway, yeah, for sanding, that's kind of been how we're doing it. We'll do another little clip here when we're done, unless we come up with any other more hot tips.